What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Life After Strange, right here on Player One versus the World. And my guest, she doesn't need any introductions, but she is the first person to come on here twice. A lot of interesting things have happened in our 2 years of talk. We welcome on none other than the D&D queen. No, not D&D queen, the radio queen, Katy Bentz, Steph Gingrich herself, Life is Strange, True Colours, and Before Storm. Katy, welcome back. How are you?
Hi, good. I promise I have no secrets this time.
Yes, that was brutal. That got me deep. That no, but honestly, like I remember going back and watching that interview after True Colours' announcement trailer came out, and I was like, oh no, I was like, I've been taken here for a ride. But obviously, NDAs, we have to respect them. I had a hunch, by the way, just to kind of give you a bit of clarity with that.
You had a hunch?
Yes, so because there were leaks coming out about True Colours, and there was one about Steph and potentially coming back. We had Alex, and I was kind of like, Katie's disappeared for a while, and it's like, and she's not replying to my emails. Like, have I done something to annoy her because she hasn't responded to me? And then you were like, oh, I'm out of town, I'm doing this, and I was like, where's Katy gone here? This doesn't, 2 and 2 doesn't get here. And then when you ask for the questions as well, it's like she's being very, protective here. But you threw me because at that point I forgot about it. And then Dylan Winfrey came on a couple of months later, and he said something to me during the podcast. And then I ended the call, and afterwards I was like, hang on a minute. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, he's just said something where it's like, we might see more. He said like, well, we might see more of me down the line. You might see me doing something. I'm working on top secret projects and whatever else. And I was like, hang on a minute.
That's not good.
I was like, yeah, I was like, Dylan, I was like, what are you working on? I was like, what are you working on? But no, I kind of, yeah, so I kind of got a hint there that it was thingy, but you threw me. But as I said, thank you for coming back on here, and start with, obviously, a massive congratulations on this. This was a huge moment for me to see you get this as well.
Thank you.
Thoroughly deserved, and obviously, we have to pick this apart. But we kick things off with Dr. Lynn. She starts off asking Alex, how are you feeling today? And we start with Katy. How are you feeling today? Happy, sad, scared, or angry?
Oh, I might be feeling a little, I don't know, like happy, sad. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, like a good mixture, like a nice mixture. So this brings the happy back to it. So I'm happy to be here. Very, very happy. But yeah, life has its ups and downs all the time, constantly. So we're always dealing with different emotions and having to figure out, how to bring the positive ones back into our life while we handle and deal with the negative ones. So yeah.
Very well put, and absolutely spot on with that. And we'll keep it on that line and not go into angry territory by the end of this. But I kind of wanted to kick things off because we're recording in late August. This will probably go out in either at the end of August or the early September. This is almost 1 year since Life is Strange, True Colours has come out. What are the immediate feelings, knowing that we're coming up to exactly 1 year since it was out?
Yeah, well, it feels like it's been longer than a year. It doesn't feel like it's only been a year because I've met so many new people, so many new fans of the game who've come over and been a part of my Twitch stream. And like, I feel like those people have just been with me for much longer than a year. So it's crazy to see them coming back and like sharing their 1 year subs. And I'm like, what? It's only been a year? It feels like you've been with me for so long. Because the type of people that these games bring in we're all similar to each other. So it all feels like we've known each other for so long. And so I'm really grateful for that. And yeah, I don't know. It's been a crazy ride. It really has. I'm just like, I think about it all the time about my involvement in the franchise, and just like, it's surreal. I don't think it's ever going to feel, real. It always feels surreal. To know that, I've been in 3 of their games. Like, that is just such a cool thing. I don't know. So it's just really cool.
It absolutely is. And I can imagine that it won't settle in for quite some time yet. But I think, my interview here is structured a bit differently because I feel like we're going to explore Katy Bentz and Steph Gingrich, because I think they go hand in hand at this point for me personally. Yeah. The evolution of the character goes hand in hand with Katy's evolution. And before we kind of dig into more stuff around that line, I kind of wanted to address one of the elephants in the room, which is obviously Steph Gingrich returns in Life is Strange True Colours, makes a triumphant return. And in that, I imagine you didn't re-audition for this. It'd be, it would surprise me if you actually went back and re-auditioned for this character. But what I wanted you to do, what what I wanted to explore was, what was it like going back to that fateful day when you found out this game was in production, Steph Gingrich is coming back, but more importantly, as you said, you're appearing in more than one Life is Strange game, and Steph goes from supporting to one of the main characters.
It was definitely like a process. It wasn't just like, they didn't like hand that to me right away. They just told me, hey, do you want to come reprise your role in this new game we're working on? And immediately I was like, I was excited that there was going to be a new game because I love the franchise so much. And then I was screaming like with joy and glee that they wanted me to reprise Steph. And at that point, I thought it was just going to be a cameo. I thought she was just going to walk in, like wave, and, like everyone's going to be like, Steph. And that was it. But I think that the studio, I think Deck 9 and Square Enix as well, I think they love her as a character, and they wanted to see her continue on. They wanted to develop her more. Obviously they're still developing her, as you know, but it's crazy to see that they love this character so much that they were able to build on her more and more and more to her to get a DLC. And yeah, she developed into being a love interest, like during recording. That wasn't handed to me at first. It was handed to me, I think, like the second time I was out there. They're like, oh, by the way, we think that she's going to be a love interest now. And I was like, what? So they just built her, and that's what's with video games. They're constantly changing, rewriting, bringing in new characters, getting rid of old characters. That's constantly happening. And a lot of the stuff doesn't see the light. So where something starts off in the beginning is much different than where it is at the end. Especially with these kind of choose your own adventure narrative type stories in the video game industry. So she developed into that. And then I think we might have been done with, I might have been wrapped with the True Colors filming. And then Corwin, the performance, the mocap producer, called me and he was like, hey, I just wanted to just get your feel on this. And this isn't something that might happen. It's just something we're talking about. We're talking about bringing Steph back for the DLC and having the DLC revolve around her. And of course I was like, holy crap, yes, that's what I want. But I just had to tell myself that anything could change. They were messing around with so many different things. But I think overall, I don't know. I think even if the pandemic didn't happen, I think they still might have done, this Steph story as a DLC. It just would have been a little bit different because maybe we would have had more people. But I think overall with the pandemic and how it was a very, internalized, to herself journey, it worked out better that way. So yeah, it was a whole process.
Absolutely. And I fully agree with you because obviously Anastasia's been on here, Erika's been on here, a lot of guests have been on here. They've kind of obviously explained to me things that have changed so much in development, with their characters, obviously with your own character. And I kind of wanted to ask you, you kind of, obviously we can't go too much into preview on certain things, but when they're telling you one thing and it changes to another day, obviously I watched all your vlogs coming up today, which I would recommend people check, which I think is a very cool idea, by the way.
I have to put more out.
Yeah, that's a nice reminder as well. But, I thought it was really interesting following the vlogs because we saw so much. And I think, me and Adam talked about, the Life is Strange free logo, which was quite old school, and they changed that. But what's going through your mind as an actor when they're changing all these different things with Steph? Because you can't have a clear mind of Steph is just going down this route. It could be tomorrow, it could be down this route or that route. What kind of goes through your mind because you're entrenched in this project for some time?
Yeah, I think a lot more stuff changed with Alex than it did with Steph. Alex, I've heard Erika talk about it. She changed completely. She was so different from the beginning. But I think with Steph, she just kind of evolved into what I would have expected Steph to evolve into. So it wasn't necessarily things changing. It was just things getting better for Steph. So it was exciting for me. I was like, okay, let's go back and let's see what new stuff we have for Steph today. And so, yeah, it was just this evolving character into what she is now, into this, I don't know. She's a really dynamic character. And, that wasn't the case when we met her in Before the Storm. So it wasn't necessarily changes that were throwing me for a loop. It was change. It was not even really change. It was just, evolving into what she is now. And that was just exciting for me to see where she was going to go.
An absolutely great evolution with that. And I kind of wanted to explore one more thing with you because you kind of mentioned it before, but I kind of wanted to dig a bit deeper because I know you'll forever be grateful to Deck 9, Square Enix for Life is Strange, what it's given you. But we talked about in two separate interviews almost 5 years ago and then 2 years ago, you know, Samantha Myers was a character you auditioned for. You didn't get that. Or they moved you into Steph Gingrich. Do you think it'll ever settle in, whether you call it fate or destiny? Do you think you'll ever be able to kind of like sit down and think, wow, that one change changed my life forever? Like, will it ever settle in for you that will happen?
I mean, I mean, it has, and that's why I'm so grateful. You know, like I don't, like I look back to where and why I'm here, you know, and I always do make a point to thank Deck Nine and to thank Webb and, you know, to thank Phil and to thank Square Enix, because they all casted me, you know, like Webb picked my headshot out of a thing, and you know, he's the one that was like, no, like she's the right voice for Steph, you know, like I'm so grateful for Webb, like, and I hope it settles in just how much he's changed, you know, my life, and how this franchise has changed my life. Like each person's involvement in it has changed my life. I would not be sitting here right now. Like I don't think I'd be in this apartment. I wouldn't have, my life would be so different. So yeah, I mean, it has settled in, and yeah, my life would just be so different if things went differently. And yeah, if I wasn't on that casting site that day, you know, submitting for roles, and I didn't submit for this, you know, I wouldn't be here. And yeah, I really enjoy where my life is right now, and I'm very, very, very grateful for it.
I can imagine. So I feel the same way myself in terms of 2015 playing Life is Strange, because things could have ended very differently for me, and this channel might never have existed if I played that game. And so obviously the gig is booked. Katy is back for True Colors, and you are one of the few actors who have flown out for this project. A lot of them are Colorado based. You and Emery were flown out from LA. What I kind of wanted to explore at this point, you know, you got quite a bit of journey there to make to Colorado. How did you prepare for that? Did you go on the plane? Did you sit down, start reading through scripts? Did you kind of want to enter the mindset of Steph? Did you decide to kind of get off the plane, then kind of get into the mood of kind of like True Colors, in the mood of Steph? What was the kind of approach? Because there's kind of big time frame here. And as I said, that I think for me personally, the expectation is much bigger. Like when I saw you in that announcement trailer, heard your voice, I was like, she ain't just a minor character now. As you've said before, Deck Nine loves this character. It's their own creation. Square Enix seems to have this kind of affinity with it. And I think the expectations seem to be much bigger. But what was the kind of preparation like? Did you decide to prep on the plane? Did you want to get in Steph's mindset a bit more during that travel? Or did you just switch off and you're like, when I get in Colorado, then we'll start exploring Steph a bit more?
Like, so I'd always get my sides sent to me before I left. So I would go and I printed them off at like the local, like, I don't know, office store. And I was always like really nervous about it because like, you know, it's like confidential stuff. It's like, who's around, who's looking around me? So yeah, I'd go and I'd print off my stuff. I'd get it. And like, they gave us these like little lock boxes. So I put it in the lock box. I'm sure people are like, why does this woman have a lock box in an Office Depot? But yeah. And then I don't know. I was always so worried that like somebody was going to like see me looking at it or whatever. Like I was so worried that I was going to like ruin everything and like somebody's going to find out. So yeah, I didn't do anything until I got to the hotel. I didn't look at anything. Like I wasn't on the plane, like going through my stuff because like, I don't know, what if somebody saw, you know, like, and then, oh, you know, Katy Bentz ruins it on a freaking Delta flight, you know, like I couldn't do that. So yeah, I get to the hotel, the night before, and I would just go through and, learn all of my lines and be prepared for the day ahead. And sometimes I would go there and we would have, like one time I was there for a week. So we had different scenes each day. So I would just focus on the first scene, you know, for that, or the first scenes for the first day. And then once we finished that day, then the next night I would, you know, that night, I guess I would go back to the hotel and I would learn all my lines for the next day. So it was just kind of, you know, taking one step at a time and focusing on the scenes that we were going to be working on the next day. And yeah, so I basically just prepared lines and like what I thought was how, you know, we wanted to perform it. And then when I got into the studio, you know, Webb was like, okay, let's try it this way. Let's try it that way. So yeah.
That's very interesting. And to explore one more thing in that, because obviously the time frame now, we're going from LA to Colorado, you're flying, you're going to Deck Nine studio, but Katy Bentz lives the other life, that life for the Twitch streamer, has schedules in place, has this kind of commitment, has a community who's going to ask questions, and Katy has to develop a lie that makes it believable. I'm going seeing family. Obviously, Twitch streaming live, anything can happen. If you blurt out something by accident, even though you're obviously very careful, You can all kinds of things go on. What was kind of the mindset in that sense of like, you know, you were doing this project secretly, a huge proportion of your fan base loves Life is Strange, Steph, everything else like that, and then coming back and doing Twitch streams. Did you feel like you were living a double life at that point?
A little bit, yeah. I would say in the beginning it did, but then I got used to it and it wasn't like an issue anymore because I did it for like almost 2 years or something. And it just became not an issue. Like it was just kind of second nature to just like say whatever the heck I was going to say and like just like put a face on and just like, I don't know. But yeah, in the beginning I was very nervous about it. I was like, oh shit, you know? And then the closer and the closer it got to the game coming out and like leaks were coming out and that kind of stuff, you know, there was more people in my stream chat saying things. And, you know, I either just ignored it. Like you know, sometimes I don't see everything, you know, or but I always saw it or like I saw it and I would comment on it and be like, oh, that's cool. You know, like, yeah, I would love to be in another Life is Strange game, you know, just kind of whatever. And it fooled people. So it worked. But yeah, I mean, going to Colorado and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. The whole Kansas thing or the whole, I don't know. I just kind of said stuff and then just like ran with it and then just kept it like that. I know a lot of people were actually really worried because I kept going to visit my family. So I think they were worried that something was wrong with my family. And I felt really bad about that in the end. Cause I don't want to worry people. But yeah, it just kind of latched on and seemed to work. So I just kept rolling with it. And yeah, I don't know. It was definitely just this weight lifted off of me when the trailer, you know, went. It was just like, oh, finally I can talk about it. It was just an awesome moment.
I can very much imagine so. It seems quite hectic. And in that as well, let's dig into Steph a bit more. Big changes to Steph. Not in terms of, you know, just in terms of appearance, you know, she's gone, you know, she's left Arcadia Bay, the stage managing duties is gone, D&D's gone, sort of, obviously, you know, we get a bit of throwback to that, but we see a different Steph, a bit more mature, you know, different outfits, different look, aesthetic to it. And this obviously is a big significant change of project. You know, she's also like a DJ, a record store owner. What was it like when you first learned about this Steph now? True Color Steph, the evolution of the character, and then also your first reaction to seeing her appearance change as well.
Well, I thought she looked really cool. They had this like mock-up of her in the studio. I actually took a picture of it. I've never posted it because I don't know. I just get worried about that kind of stuff because she was wearing a different shirt and she had different stuff. So it's like, I don't know. I always be careful about that. But I did. I went up to it and I like took a selfie with it. It was the first time I really saw her and she looked so cool. She looked badass and like, I don't know. She looked awesome. I think her glow up was amazing. And just like her vibe, I don't know. She just still had that like chill vibe to her. And yeah, like all of the stuff, I guess the LARP stuff was the first thing that I found out, you know, about like that she did. And that was her world. And I thought that was really unique. And I didn't really know how that was going to end up. I didn't know what that was going to look like in the end. And the DLC was the one that had just everything in it. I mean, it was jam packed. I was like, really? Like, they're like, oh yeah, we're doing this and we're doing this. I was like, what? There's so many things that the player can do. And there's so many things in here that Steph does. Like, it was just jam packed with so much cool stuff. And I was just so excited about it. I was excited to explore all of these different things with Steph. And then for the fans to explore it as well. I don't know. She's just got a lot going for her. She's so dynamic. Like, they really did. They created an amazing, beautiful, lovable, dynamic character that has so much going on. And she's just so freaking cool. I don't know. So, you know, all around, it was just a really great experience.
It absolutely was. And obviously, this is a different scale of project. From Before the Storm to True Colors, we had a lot of changes. Philip Bache is not involved with the franchise for the first time. We have Webb Pickersgill, obviously the man of the hour, stepping into the true performance director role. We also have Katy trading in the VO booth for a mocap suit, a first in her career in a video game. And what I wanted to ask you to start off with in this was, how did you find working under Webb's direction compared to Philip Bache? Obviously quite different circumstances, different things, but now we have, because I know Webb was in some of the sessions, he turned up, he had, you know, a bit of a difference with Philip Bache of how scenes have played out, difference of, you know, when you have two directors, you're going to see some things differently, but now Webb is leading the direction. How did you find working under Webb, and how different was it from working under Philip Bache?
Yeah, so we did just voiceover for BTS. So I'm trying to think. I think Phil was there. Yeah, Phil was there in the booth. But like the way Phil works is, I mean, he he's been in the game for so long, you know, and he's a very straightforward director. He knows exactly what he wants, and he knows exactly how he's going to get it out of you. And we're just going to go. And he does. He gets exactly what he wants, and he has great results. And with I think with and that's you know, voice directing, so it's very different from performance, full performance. And so when I jumped into the suit and I was on the set with Webb, you know, it's more of exploration. We're exploring where we can go, and we're exploring different ways to do this. Maybe it's not what was on the page. Maybe we're going to get there a different way than we thought we would. And with Webb, like, he loves acting, you know, like, he loves the craft of acting. He truly does himself, and he loves playing with actors. And he loves seeing what he can get out of each actor he works with, and like getting into their psyche and trying to understand, you know, where they get their, I don't know, where they get their juice from. And so it was really awesome to work with Webb. And I don't know, like, there's things that I see in the game that I'm like, I wouldn't have gotten that scene if it wasn't for Webb. Like, if it wasn't for Webb and I playing to get there. And just watching him work with like Erika and mainly Erika, because that's usually who I was on set with, was really awesome to see him do that too. I don't know, you learn a lot from watching, and I learned a lot from watching Webb.
Absolutely, and Webb will come into our conversation a bit more, and obviously Erika will as well. But I kind of wanted to continue the conversation in the sense that, you know, I've known Katy Bentz since 2017. But I've known Katy Bentz as the voice actor, and I've known Katy Bentz as the entertainer on Twitch and some very hilarious skits on YouTube. So I've like known you from a certain standpoint. And when I spoke to Webb 2 years ago, obviously that was a long conversation about, I think maybe like 4 hours or something on Twitch. You know, one of the things that he said, like, if you want to ask me something, ask it. I was like, what's Katy like in the mocap suit? Because it was like, I haven't seen Katy in a mocap suit. I haven't seen what she can do. And that's not me ever doubting that you're an all-round actor, but we are entering different territory. You've experienced it yourself. You're going from a VO booth into the mocap suit. So I wanted to get into the mocap suit part, because this is the first time you're suiting up. You're at, you know, in the in-house studio. Was it an easy process for you to sell into the mocap suit, or was it a transitional phase that you took, or do you just feel quite natural getting into it?
I think being sorry for all my lighting changes, by the way. Like, I was getting really bright, and I was like, why do I look like a MySpace photo? I had to change that quick. But yeah, I think getting into performance capture was very just close to home where I started acting. You know, I started on stage, on theater. And it's very similar to that. It kind of feels like you're just like blocking out something, because when you start working on a theater project and you start working on scenes, like, you have just like random like Apple boxes or things just to like be in place of like the real set or whatever. So that's kind of what it was like for me first, feeling like, oh, I'm just like working on a theater project. This is cool. But no, I mean, like, we were filming, we were actually recording, like, of course we blocked things out, and, you know, we got what we needed so we could actually film. But yeah, I don't know. It was just awesome. Like, I was performing completely. I wasn't just doing my voice. Like, everything that was being recorded was me. And I think having the performance capture and having the face VO along with the voiceover, like, just makes that performance that much better. And I think that's truly why True Colors, you know, in my opinion, you know, I'm sorry, I might be a little biased, but I think it's the best in the franchise because of those emotions that we're able to see. You know, it's just leagues ahead of it, because we just didn't have that technology, you know, before. You know, before it was like you had somebody else do the body, and then you had somebody do, you know, the voice, and then the face was being created, you know, on animation. And so it was just different. But with this, like, everything ties in together. And I think that's why, you know, the performances in the end and those scenes really hit home with a lot of players. But yeah, it was just really cool. It was really awesome to be able to do everything in one and just feel, you know, like, I don't know. That's an actor's dream, I think, especially voiceover actors, to do performance capture. So I'm, again, very grateful for that.
Absolutely. And to pick into that one more, because I was going to bring Webb up, but I'm going to put him to hold for a second, which is like, you said something interesting, which was like, you know, there's a different experience with mocap, and as you know, I don't agree that True Colors are the best, but I think it's seminal in terms of its mocap. It really did change the franchise's direction. Mm-hmm. And I've always said, like, even any criticism that I have or any positivity, my always big positivity is Webb Pickersgill's performance directing direction. It changed, for me, it's changed the franchise and the way that you perceive things. And obviously that is also down to the actors as well. There's nothing I could ever doubt with those two factors in True Colors. But you said it there as well, like, you know, you're just doing the VO and you get a different performance. And did you feel when you're in the mocap suit, you're playing Steph now in a different kind of incarnation? And obviously Steph was mocap by, I think, Megan in BTS. I think she might have even done the facial capture in the remaster collection. But did you feel like you were more connected to Steph on a spiritual level because you were able to do the mocap this time around?
Yes, 100%. Like, yeah, hands down. Like, her and I connected so much. I mean, she's forever in my heart, you know, like she'll always be a part of me, you know, and like I can always tap back into her. And I was so connected with her this entire time, or the entire time that I was working on True Colors. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was just really cool to go from voice to just completely, I was Steph. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to bring Webb back into here. Obviously, one of the interesting things I got in terms of the insight from the True Colors actors is Webb's direction, the way that he is as a director. And a very divisive thing was Meisner technique. Obviously, Erika Mori has been on here before you and has given her thoughts in, you know, she's not that bright. You know, well, actually, you can go watch that if you want to see what Erika Mori thinks of Meisner. And I think, like, you know, Anastasia loved it. You worked in theatre before. Did you cross Meisner before when you were
in so I learned Meisner back when I was in college. And I like that kind of stuff. I don't know. I love that kind of stuff. I think any way to connect into your scene partner and to connect into your text and connect into the emotions of like the scene overall, I think is a plus and is a positive. And like, I feed into that stuff so much. I love it. So yeah, I really enjoy that kind of stuff.
Did you know that Webb would introduce this kind of like technique in? Like, I know it's not necessarily it was on set because demands are different, but he was a kind of big fan of it. And it kind of, as I said, it gave me an insight into Webb's directional style. But were you expecting Webb to kind of introduce this technique? And then obviously you seem to be more receptive towards it. Because like I said, I think Erika Mori is a losing battle at this point because like she was very not, you know, she very much didn't like it. Some of the other actors are kind of, you know, a bit, you know, they're indifferent towards it. And then obviously like Stace and a couple of us love it. But what was the reaction like when Webb was like, I want to try Meisner technique? Were you like, oh,
I was stoked because I had already done it. Yeah. Like I was stoked. I was like, cool, I love Meisner. You know, I remember, I remember it was the three of us on set. Well, Eric, Erika, and myself and Webb. And I can't remember. I think, I don't know when I actually did the Meisner with him. He had just mentioned it. I think I might have done the Meisner with Webb. Like when he was explaining it, I can't remember. It was so long ago. But then he had Erika and Eric do the Meisner, and then we ran out of time, and I never got to do the Meisner with Erika, and I was really sad about it. I was like, yeah, I got to watch Erika and Eric do the Meisner, which was really cool. But yeah, I never got to do Meisner with Erika, and I don't think I will have that chance because she hates it. So that was my only opportunity, and I'm sad. But no, I'm pretty sure I got to do it at some point with Webb. But yeah, no, I loved it. I was so stoked for it. Cause again, like that's my theater like background in college. And, yeah, it's just a way to tap in. Like, again, it's the tapping into your psyche. Like he wants to tap in and figure out like, he knows us so well. It's so crazy. Even now, you know, he streams on Twitch. Like, I don't know. He's like been in my streams before and like, he can just like sense things, you know, and like, he'll message me after stream and be like, da, 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 da. I'm like, how did you know this? And he's like, oh, I know. Like, he just knows me so well because of working with me. He just knows the type of person I am and knows how my brain works. And it's really weird, but like also really admirable because like he goes, you know, 1,000% into his work and what he's, you know, delivering to the fan base. And yeah, he's really freaking talented at what he does. So yeah, I have all due respect for him.
He really is. And we'll come back on to Katy Bentz and Steph, because I know this is your Life After Strange interview, but I just wanted to say something here, because obviously you mentioned that you got to see Erika do Meisner. Yeah. What's she like in Meisner? Because obviously I've only got the...
Oh, she hates it. She hates it. She's like so guarded. She doesn't want to do it. She hates it. She hates it. And like, there'll be like times where she like dials in, but then she'll just be like, in her brain, she's like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't want to do this, you know? And you just see that happening in her brain. And I think the fact that she hates it so much, Webb just pushes it more on her because he really wants to get like something just out of her, you know? He knows, he's like, if I just push it more, like something amazing is going to come out of her. And I'm sure it has, you know, because like she worked so, like she had so many hours on that game. I'm sure that happened. But yeah, like Eric was like all for, you know, Eric was like, okay, cool, you know, but yeah, Eric was just like, I hate this, you know? But she does. She dials in at some points and she like gives it a chance, and then she's just like, "Why am I doing this?"
Right. Okay. I thought I'd just ask. And if you're wondering as well, if you do want to learn a bit more about Meisner, you should check out the StrangeCast episode with Anastasia Davison. Breaks it down very well. And my layman way of breaking down is basically acting is reacting. So I'm like, Katy has headphones, and Katy says, I have headphones, and the conversation kind of just, you build a conversation through that. I hope I've done that right. Unless
it's just about allowing your emotions to just literally surface. So like, yeah, and it doesn't matter. Like the words you're saying are just a vessel for your emotion to like come out of your body. So yeah, it could just like turn into anything. I mean, people like have literally done Meisner and just started crying or laughing or yelling or screaming. And then it's like, okay, cool. Like we've tapped in.
That, and we'll move these away now because we'll come back onto Katy at this point. You know, Webb is your go-to source on the set of True Colors, and obviously Cole and the Det 9 team, mocap team is there. But because of how involved you are in the project, especially with Steph as well, and the position Steph has in the story, I would be safe to assume that you probably crossed paths with the True Colors performance director, the True Colors director, Zak Garriss, at some point.
Oh my God, I love Zak so much.
Was he ever there for any of the mocap sessions and just turned up and kind of like watched? What was this like? Do you ever give you any feedback of like what you're seeing?
100%.
From you and Steph?
Yeah, so it is so cool. And I think I talked about this in my vlogs or something. But it is so cool to watch them all work together because it is so like Zak has a very calm disposure. Like he's very calm. He's very collected. Like he thinks a lot before he speaks. And so everything that comes out of his mouth is it just makes sense. And Webb, like it was like Webb and like Zak and like some of the writers. So like Felice, Ryan, D, like, they're all just kind of working together. And so if we did a scene, then Zak and Webb would just talk about it and they would just kind of go off and it was like really calm. Like there was never any arguing. There was never any really like there was never disagreeal. It was just kind of like listening to each other's like point of view and coming to a middle ground to figure out, okay, like how can we, get the best performance from what we both want. And it was just so cool to watch that because I've been on sets where I see people just like freaking their hair's on fire. They're upset. They're mad because they're not getting what they want. And like, I have so much respect for how Deck 9 works. And like that's the whole company. Like they're all like that. They just listen to each other. They all know that they have a common goal, and it's to create literally, magic. And, but yeah, Zak, it was awesome. And, there was times where, I don't know, like I would do a scene or a monologue or something. And I can't remember which one it was. I think it was her, speech she did for the wake at Gabe's wake. And I think Zak just told me afterwards, he was like, that was really great. And like, it's just so like calm, but like, and so short, but like if he says something like, holy shit, like that, like it sticks with you. Because like he means it. He really freaking means it. And it means a lot coming from him. So yeah, I love working with Zak. He's incredibly talented. And to see him and Webb work together was just like I said, it was just magical. So
I can imagine it's just a little fist bump moment when you get any kind of positivity.
Well, yeah. And Webb had sat me down like one time, like he sat me down in his office and he was like, like I can see like you're really getting where we need to go. Like this week was great. And it was just like, like it has so much validation that we seek, as actors. And a lot of us will never talk about it, because we just go through the motions, but like to get the validation from the directors is like, oh, it's so good. And it's so satisfying.
Oh, I can absolutely imagine that. And in that as well, I don't know if you've spoken about this or not, but I kind of wanted to explore something. Well, obviously, with like some of the other characters, their body language, their postures, the way that they act is really important, especially with like Erika as well. If you just watch Alex Chen, the way that she moves her head, the way she looks away from things. I think Erika told me that they kind of canned off the idea of her playing with a ring at one point because the mocap suit wouldn't pick it up. But she did things with her language, body language. Same with, Stacey, you watch her, you like Diane, she just seems quite, corporate the way that she stands. And obviously when I look at Steph, maybe it's not more about like gestures or things, but her mannerisms, the way that she acts, very free-spirited, moving around, like, a lot of swagger there. Was that something Webb was with you, where he's like, basically, he's like, Katy, just be Katy Bentz? Because that's, when I watch Steph, I imagine I'm just watching Katy Bentz with the way that she moves. And
that's cool.
Yeah, just like the swagger there. I feel like, because obviously we've had it in the franchise before with some of the characters, the way that they walk. You know, you see Victoria walk in BTS, it's just quite funny because she's just like, you know, mean girl strutting her way around. But with Steph, what was it like kind of building the mocap identity with her? Like, was there kind of like, Webb was like, just Katy, be free-spirited, be you? Or was there kind of like certain things you had to do to bring out the overall performance outside of obviously the voice?
Yeah, I mean, that's cool that you say that, because I don't feel like I have any swagger at all. When I did performance capture for Steph, and I was like trying to figure out like her body language and everything, I just kind of grounded her. I just grounded her more. So like her weight was just kind of like that, you know, a little bit just like, that swagger you sense. And like her moves were like in like different things, especially in Wavelengths, where she has like her idol poses and that kind of stuff. If she just kind of stands around, like that was stuff that like, you know, I had to figure out like what would Steph do and how would she do this? And no, I didn't really pull from me per se. And especially like her facial reactions and stuff. Like I know people are like, oh, I see Katy in that, but like she does things that like I don't do. Like she has like, you know, like when I smile, like I smile. She has like, you know, this kind of like half smile thing, you know, like this is Steph. I don't do that. Like I don't do that at all. And so it was cool to figure out like, you know, how do I bring Steph to life with my face, and like figure out things that I don't usually do with my face, and how do I make that just Steph? So yeah, she just kind of like, she just kind of has this like, I don't know, this mystery behind her. And that's kind of how I created her, I guess, her vibe, her persona of the way she holds herself through her body and her face. Okay,
that's really interesting. And I'll come into one more, I'll pick out a scene later and I'll explain, because where I come in with the swagger, it'll make a bit more sense. And I'm going to skip my next question, which I was going to say, like, you know, give us a tour about what your day in the life of on the mocap sales. And I'm going to kind of suggest people go and check out your vlogs, because they're much more interesting for that conversation. I think they give you an incredible insight into like a behind the scenes there. But I kind of wanted to talk about something else, because obviously we're talking about Steph. I think in the terms of the main mocap work you're going to do, it's with Erika and Han. They seem to be the main characters that Steph seems to revolve around, if anything, during most of the episodes. But I wanted to ask you, you know, what was it like meeting them, then building the chemistry? Because I know Webb did a kind of a scenario where Han and Erika went and spent a day together to kind of get a bit more familiar with each other. And obviously that resonates so much with the Chen siblings, but obviously it seems so natural, you know, between all three of you. What was it like just kind of gelling together?
Yeah, so I never worked with Han, ever.
Didn't you?
No, I never worked. There's not a scene. There's no scenes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Right.
There's no scene. Yeah, I know. I never worked with Han. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy though? Like most people think. They think. Yeah. But yeah, there's not a scene with him.
Because Steve said to me that he came back on set and he's like, yeah, Han's character's dead. It's like, he's like, wait a minute, what? He's like, I've just been away for a day, and it's like, after just that day, Han Solo just disappeared. And it's like, right, okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so more Erika and obviously Eric.
Yeah. I don't know, like I really connected like with Erika like right away. Erika and I just connected. She, you know, behind the scenes or, you know, off camera, like we would just talk about like our personal lives, and like she was always just like checking in, like seeing how I was doing. And I don't know, we just kind of like dived into that. And then after the game came out, that's when we really got really close. But no, she was always just like such a good energy for me on set, and I really appreciated that. And I think, yeah, I don't know, it just like with her character, like Erika's very different from Alex, and so it was just a matter of like, you know, Steph. Again. What was that?
You can say that again. She's very different.
Like very, very different. And so yeah, I don't know, with Steph just kind of like vibing with Alex, you know, it was different, but like I don't know, we were able to just key into our characters and just like watch them bloom and blossom. And I don't know, it was just really great working with her. You know, like the intimacy scene, you know, the kiss scene and stuff was just like so professional. Like we both just like, we knew what we needed to do.
We'll come on to that.
You know,
we'll come on. I'll stop you there because we'll come on to that.
Okay.
That was a bit more of a deeper explanation I wanted to do with that.
But yeah, and working with Eric, like Ryan, like he's just this like dork, you know? And so like with Steph, like she loves Ryan, obviously. Like they're really good friends, they're best friends, but like to play off of just his like dorkiness was a lot of fun for Steph. And, you know, I think Eric, you know, did a great job with Ryan and making him just this like little dorky character who fans just fell in love with. So yeah, it was really, really great working with both of them.
Oh, absolutely. And obviously I think like LARP really made Ryan shine, if anything. That was a great scene with him. But, you know, on mocap, we saw great scenes with Katy, you know, where she's a witch in LARP. We see moments when she's chilled, when, you know, that kind of like really hilarious moment in the 4th chapter where she's like, you know, who's playing the music set, and then we just see Alex cut over. It's very similar to the Tempest shot with Chloe getting put on stage. But, you know, there's kind of like great moments with Steph, and obviously there's some like, you know, deep emotional ones. I think the one that really stands out for me is in Han's death. No, Gabe's death. You know, when the way she's reacting towards kind of like think about the foosball and all that. So I kind of wanted to ask you, you know, what was in Katy Bentz's mind the most intense scene to shoot on the set of mocap? We're talking whether it's physically, emotionally, or even both. Which one's the one that you really vividly stands out for you as a really intense shoot?
Yeah, I would say, episode 2, the foosball, and I guess going into it with the wake. So I really enjoy I just enjoyed dramatic acting and emotional, you know, like I like tapping into the character's sadness. I don't know why, but it's enjoyable for me as an actor to tap into those places. And I think they're very meaty. So I had a lot of fun getting to understand her sadness around Gabe's death and, you know, doing the wake monologue and then, you know, seeing the trophy and letting that sit in. That was that really stands out for me working as an actor on the set. And I was always just like, okay, I hope it turns out well, you know, because we don't know. We can't see it for like 3 years or whatever, or 2 years. But when I saw it first, I was very, very, I don't know, like I was just happy it turned out so well. So yeah, it was cool.
No, I'm very happy with that. And we'll kind of, you know, change the tone here. Whereas, what was your favorite memory on the set of the True Colors production? A certain scene, certain segment, which is the one that kind of really, if I say that to you, it really stands out and it's the first thing that comes to your mind?
My favorite memory? I don't know. Like, this is why I made the vlogs. So like all of my ideas and my memories and stuff would be like capsuled into this vlog because I have a horrible memory. I literally did that on purpose. So I'm sure there's like a favorite memory I talk about in the vlogs that I remember because I talked about it the day of, but I don't know. I think just being around everybody, it was just a good environment. I don't know. It was just a really good environment. Like, I don't know if I have like a favorite memory. I would say that scene working on chapter 2 was like my favorite scene memory. But I don't know, like, we connected a lot in the actor space. Like, it was cool meeting Stace. Like, she was awesome, you know, just meeting all those people. That was I would say when we did the flirt scene, I would think that was a really cool time because we had Stace, Erika, and Eric and myself all on set. So it was really cool to vibe with each other. And that was the first time.
I'm going to jump in again here. That is another scene we're going to explore. So it's coming up, those two, the Alex and the Yipping one. So apologize.
No, you're fine. Well, I'm now my brain is like going and I'm thinking more. Well, we had one day where we had, I think everybody, we were missing like, I think 2 people, but we had everybody on set because we were, it was the wake scene. Yeah, we were, no, it wasn't the wake scene. It was the in scene. It was the council scene. And so everybody was working that week. But we took, I think, Monday to have everybody come on and do like a read through. And I think that they just wanted us to all kind of meet each other. And so that was really cool to see all the other actors. And I never interacted with any of them ever again, except for Eric and Erika and Stace. Everybody else I never worked with. But I think that was really beneficial, you know, to see the other people and to just like see them work and to hear, you know, what they were doing. That was a really cool time. So, yeah.
that's a perfect response because it's springboarding into what I was going to ask you next, actually.
Okay.
Obviously, like you said, Erika and Eric are the main kind of sources. And I might know the answer to this question, but I was going to ask you, and I know that obviously mocap was limited for Deck 9. Not everyone was in suits. The wake scene was shot separately with people, etc. Limitations come into the project. But you have a really interesting character, and there's a lot of interesting characters in Haven Springs. Was there a specific character you wish that we saw Steph with a bit more, and then that gave you the time to work with that actor as well?
Ooh, I think it would have been awesome to have a scene with Han. I think it would have been awesome to have a scene, with Gabe. I mean, if you look at it, like, they're around the same, like, oh gosh, when the two guys go to get a first aid kit or whatever, like, Steph's sitting there, but it wasn't on the set, when he was there. But yeah, I would say doing a scene with Gabe. We get a little bit of that banter in DLC, like them playing, games and doing that kind of stuff. And I think it'd be so fun to just see them, IRL hanging out together. But yeah, I would say that. I would say Gabe and Steph.
Okay, perfect choice. Now we're going to explore those two scenes because, like I said, the first one, I think it's one of the most significant scenes in the game. Really stood out for a lot of people, really gave us an insight into Steph a bit more. And that's obviously the Steph and Alex kiss that we get. And this is kind of, as I said, like, I wanted to explore both Steph and yourself as well, because you come in a mocap set and you're not going to kiss, obviously, on mocap. It's, we have developers flat, they're helpful to kind of just push the face together. But there is still a level of intimacy. If you're standing in front of someone, the setup, the eye contact, there is that kind of moment where you're going to be feeling some kind of levels. But I wanted to know, what was it like going into that day, shooting it? Because it's, as I said, it's in the story, it's a significant moment. The way that people reacted towards it, it was like just wild because people loved seeing that. And then also, which I can obviously undoubtedly not even question, Erika's professionalism, the way that she approached the scene, Webb's professionalism, and then just kind of like the entirety of how Deck 9 conducted the mocap. What was it? I don't know if you've ever tried anything like that before, whether it's like a kind of an intimate kind of scene, but what kind of like reflection did you have post scene and also during the scene?
Yeah. Well, it's work, like a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're like, these people kiss, like, people get excited. It's like, it's work. It's just work.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, cool. Kiss scene. I mean, I knew it was going to happen because I knew it was a love interest. So I knew eventually we were going to have a scene about that. It was just a matter of like when and how much and whatever. But yeah, no, it's just work. It was just work. And it's just like doing any other scene. And yeah, that was really what it was. But yeah, we actually did kiss. So they had.
Oh, did you? I thought you did. I thought you didn't. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So we did. So we had the helmets on, and so we did a bunch of shots with the helmets on, so they could see our faces. But we could only go so far because then we were going to bonk heads. So we kind of just like went in. I think mainly for hugs. I think. Or maybe we went in and they had to stop, but they just wanted to see our face before we actually did the kiss. And then once we got that in every single way, because you have the hug, like I think there's like 2 levels of kisses or something. And so they got all of that done. And then like, I mean, it was a whole day. And then after that, we put these like little caps on and we took our headsets off or our helmets off. And then they're constantly recording. They're doing, all of this behind the scenes, videos, so they can then go into post and be able to like do the animation and try and match what we're doing. So it's reference video. And so, yeah, so when we had the caps on, then Eric and I would do the full hug. We would do the different kisses. And yeah, so they have reference of us kissing, and then they would go in and try and match that as closely as they can. So, I mean, I don't know exactly how it all worked and how much of, our reference video is us and how much of it is just them animating, how they want the kiss to be. But like, I remember watching Chad, one of the lead animators, like he worked on Steph and Alex's kiss, and he was showing me, and I was like looking behind his computer, and it's so much detail. He worked so hard on that kiss to make it look amazing. And he was stoked about it. So it was really cool. But yeah, I don't know, it's just a job, and I think, yeah, people who are actors going into a kiss scene, like, we just got to treat it like a job because that's what it is. And it just, I don't know. Like, I know Webb had said too, Webb was like, that was really good. Like, thank you both for being so professional about that. So I was like, yeah, of course, you know, like, I don't know, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, that's really interesting, and it's insightful because, like, as I said, my assumptions are always dangerous, which is like, I never assumed that you'd kiss because I know that on the first Life is Strange, that was body mocap, but they didn't kiss for Max and Chloe. They just kind of like came close and then the animators did it. But obviously in the sense as well, technology has moved on, so that makes a bit more sense. But as I said, I just find it quite interesting to hear your perspective and to kind of change the tone of this conversation. And why I said before, you know, Katy Bentz seems a lot of swagger with Steph. We had Anastasia on the recent StrangeCast episode, which will be out by the time, you know, this interview comes out. Adam asked her, you know, who's the better distraction for Diane in that scene? And it's like, you know, you have Ryan and Steph. And, you know, Anastasia was like, it has to be, you know, Steph. It just seems to be the go-to one. And her exact words were, and I think, let me have a quick look at what she said now. She said, her, you know, and how Anastasia said her eyebrow don't lie with the reaction that she had, you know, to Steph flirting, you know, there's kind of clear indication of that. That's where I felt like Steph embodied you a lot in terms of like, there's that kind of like, just, you know, I'll go out there, I'll just speak my mind, I'll say what I need to, I'll turn up the charm. And like, for me, that's where I saw Steph's true personality in one of the best scenes for me in terms of like for her as a character. And also it can easily be a show stealing moment in that episode. But take us behind the scenes of that mocap, because as I said, if Anastasia says the eyebrow don't lie, you know, she's always talked about her eyebrows sticking up, and she's getting Katy coming up to her and throwing her all these kind of like, you know, flirting tips. Were you in your element? Was this free flowing Katy? Was this under direction from Webb? Walk us through that scene.
I guess it was just free flowing. I don't know. Yeah, I just like, it was such a fun line. I remember reading that line for the first time and being like, oh yeah, you know, are you single, taken, semi-single, getting down to get drunk and make out? I was like, yes. Like that was the first time like Steph said something just wild. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I love this. This is awesome. So yeah, like it was written for me and I just fed into it. And I was like, every scene you get, like the more like meatier her lines are, like that's what develops her as a character. And then I just get to play with the lines and figure out like how she's going to say it. And then it just kind of continues to evolve her as a character. So she just got cooler and cooler as we went on. But yeah, no, I was just like, dude, she doesn't care, you know, like she loves this, like she loves having fun, you know? And, yeah. And I feed into that. So it was a really fun scene for sure. Yeah.
I'm very glad about that. And obviously, you've worked on the set for a long time. You know the story. You know loads of things that are happening. But obviously, again, another highlight for me was Steph's jukebox. Great moment in the game.
Yeah.
When you played it, after it came out, did you get it on your first attempt? And obviously,
no, I couldn't remember.
Oh, Katy.
I know. I even had the line, like, shut me and kiss up or whatever. Kiss me. What is that what I can't remember. But yeah, like, yeah, I remember thinking about the line and how funny it was. And I had forgotten about it at that point until after I figured out, oh, that was that line that I thought was so freaking funny. Yeah, I don't know. I had the Alabaster's Daydream song stuck in my mind. And it's because, you know, when you're walking around, Steph tells you about that CD as well, or that song as well. So in my mind, I was like looking for that one and I couldn't figure, it just all just kind of mushes together. So yes, no, I didn't get it on the first try. And everyone was like, what the heck? And I was like, dude, I can't remember. I don't know.
Ooh, I thought you'd got that on the first attempt, but anyway, let's move into Wavelengths.
I couldn't remember. It was like 2 years earlier. I had no idea. I know everyone else was like, Katy, what do you do? What did you do? Did you work on this game? Like, my memory, please.
I don't blame you because I spent about 20 minutes myself working out because I was like, I cannot mess this up on the first attempt. I was like, I have one shot here. I need to get this right. So yeah. Fair play for you getting it wrong. And I kind of wanted to move into Wavelengths at this point, to move the direction of conversation forward. And obviously, we kind of talked about how you knew that you were getting back here. But this is the meat for Steph. Like, we get full focus on Steph. And with that, I think there's quite an interesting fact because we explore Steph a lot in terms of, you know, her backstory, a bit more about, you know, who she is. We kind of talked about that, me and you, before, you know, we could see more about Steph. But an interesting fact with the DLC and the way it's positioned, you know, we're talking about, you were filming on this game for quite a while, the pandemic was happening, and then the kind of isolation factor of Wavelengths settles in. You know, you have Steph moving away from Arcadia Bay, grief, all the kind of like issues that she has, also the isolation factor being quite, you know, stuck in this record store, not moving from that. That's what we feel like. But I kind of wanted to know, what was it like shooting those scenes for Steph? And then also kind of like the real world implications, obviously knowing that you lived through the pandemic. There were days, I think, for some of the other actors, I don't know about yourself, that they were filming on their own in the Deck 9 studio because like COVID restrictions, or, you know, some of the producers were there and they were kind of at distance, but it changed the dynamics of everything. But what was it like shooting those scenes of like feeling Steph in this reality where she feels isolated, then also the implications of what we then was the pandemic that we didn't know when it would end, whether it would end, and kind of the, you know, the impact they actually had on the world.
Yeah, no, I love that you see that connection, because yeah, I mean, that was a connection. And I don't know, I haven't asked, you know, the writers and the designers, like, you know, was this how it was intended to show, you know, this kind of like reclusiveness, if you know what I'm talking, what's the word?
I got you.
Reclusiveness, there we go. You know, did they develop that with the idea that people were going to connect with it because of the pandemic? I don't know, I never asked that. But for me as an actor, and for me as Katy Bentz, because the pandemic, even to this day, like I'm still trying to like get out and try to be, you know, more social and get back to my life. Like I'm still not at 100% back to my life. But at that time, you know, like I was really, really, you know, inside, and I didn't go anywhere. And it was just about learning about myself and learning about Katy. And when I look back on that time, like that's what I did, you know, I shine the light on me, and that's what Steph did in that time too. And it's funny because when I was recording for it, I didn't make that connection. Like I didn't make the connection. And I think because, you know, that was like in 2020, you know, it was kind of like, I say the height, but there's been tons of different heights. But yeah, that was in 2020 when I went there and I filmed in the mocap studio. So I don't think it had set in for me yet, just like how alone I was going to feel and how away from, you know, just the world I was going to feel and disconnected. And so when I played Wavelengths, like I just had this epiphany, you know, after I played it, I was like, oh my God, like I connect so much with Steph, and I connect so much with the story, and like the fact that like she, you know, just needed to stop and just focus on herself, and then everything was going to kind of like fall into place. I was like, that's what I need to do. Like, I just need to stop and focus on me and like what makes me happy, and, you know, how to care for myself and how to be dependent on myself. So I had this huge epiphany after I played the game, which is funny because like you would think, you know, that I would have that during it, but no, it happened afterwards. But yeah, there's definitely a really beautiful parallel between what she went through, you know, and then the pandemic. So yeah. And then I guess I had to also do a lot of voiceover. So like her like radio stuff, her internal monologues, all of that was done in my old apartment in like a little makeshift studio. So yeah, a lot of it I think was mainly voiceover stuff. And then I think I went there 3 times. I feel like I went there 3 times. I might have only went there twice. I can't remember. To do performance capture.
See, it's fascinating that. Yeah, it's all fascinating the way it worked out, the project. 'Cause, like, it just seems like, as I said, like the pandemic seemed to disrupt it so much. And I think, personally, I think that they might have even angled it on the pandemic. And I think in the moment when you were filming it, maybe it just didn't connect because it was like, you know, everything was so surreal.
Yeah, probably.
So one of the interesting topics I kind of wanted to explore here, and this is going to get a bit deep as well, Katy. So with Steph, we see that Deck 9 doesn't hold back with LGBT representation. Yeah. And we see that very much with Steph. She's the focal point of that. We see it in the love interest with Izzy, who is trans, we learn about. And then also, you know, we explore her sexuality in Wavelengths. We see the kind of like the pride stuff we kind of talked about in Life After Strange previously. We didn't know, you know, we saw the kind of thing that she was interested in Rachel, but there was no kind of like clear-cut indication of the way we're going. There's also been kind of like a lot of debates before, and I've kind of like only been on the cusp of it, where people say like, you know, only LGBT plus people should play, you know, those characters in industry. I don't necessarily agree with it, everyone saying it. I think sometimes, like, if it's a Native American actor playing a Native American person, I think more so there's representation in that, trans person and trans person. But, and I kind of don't want to necessarily explore your own sexuality, but it's like, you know, you've been cast in this, you have the expectation of an LGBT character. But do you think, like, the way that you played Steph, especially significantly in this game, and the amount of awards that Life is Strange True Colors has won in the LGBT community, that just breaks a preconceived notion that a gay actor should play a gay character? Because, like, for me, as I said, I think there's no one who can come up to me like Katy doesn't respect Steph the way that she is as a person. I think, like, that would be the most outrageous statement in 2022. Do you feel like, how do you feel about that kind of like conversation? Because like I said, it's a bit of a meaty topic, but I kind of want to just explore your perspective on it.
I think that when I was first cast back 5 years ago, like it wasn't really a topic that I heard of a lot. It was only during the shooting of True Colors where that started becoming more prevalent just in the industry. And I think it, you know, there's always been conversations about it, but it wasn't like, you know, outward in the public eye, you know, there wasn't articles being written about it. And so, yeah, like when it was coming out and I was recording for True Colors, I was just like, oh shit, you know, I was like, you know, yeah, I've already played this character, but I'm about to play her again, you know, and I was like, I really hope people aren't going to be mad. That's all I could think about. I was truthfully really actually scared. I was scared. And that's crazy, you know, that like, because I know with actors, like we're acting, we're trying to portray people we're not, you know, in a sense. Like obviously I do agree, like, you know, if you're of a certain ethnicity, like please, yeah, get somebody who's that ethnicity, you know, diversify your cast, etc. But yeah, no, I was honestly really scared that people were going to be upset, you know, because you know, I'm not gay. And luckily the fans weren't. And like I've expressed this before on my stream, you know, about, you know, how just grateful I was of their acceptance of me portraying somebody in their community. And they, you know, they were like, no, like we love it. Like, you know, you did a great job, da 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 da. And so it's kind of put my heart at ease. But yeah, definitely like I was a little worried, you know, because of I guess the politics behind it all and where it was headed. But yeah, I don't know, when I think of, I guess, people who like people's sexuality or character sexualities, I think that's great if you can find an actor who can, you know, who also is in that same journey, because I think that they are able to tap in more to the character's psyche. But I also think that, you know, a straight character or a gay character can play a straight character. I think that in my opinion is okay. You know, if the director finds that they, you know, do a good performance. But I always say, like, if they can find somebody, you know, first who can, you know, really tap into those characters, I think that is, you know, better. But sometimes, you know, that might, like, I don't know, they might find a character or an actor who has the same sexuality, but they just don't give the same performance that, you know, maybe a straight character or a straight actor gives to the character. And that's just, when it comes down to it, that's just acting. And some actors are really, really good and can, you know, do that well. But yeah, I think when I was originally cast as her, I don't think that was a big conversation, and maybe it was in the casting and I just didn't know about it. But again, like, I don't know, like it wasn't, they didn't ask me, oh, are you gay? You know, they didn't ask me that. I was just like, when I first, back in 2015 or 2016, when I, you know, was submitted for this and auditioned for it, I was like, oh, cool, a lesbian, you know, I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I love this, you know, like I was stoked about it. But yeah, it's definitely, really reassuring to know that the community, the fans, it's been well received and they accept me, and my performance of somebody in their community. And I will forever hold that very close to my heart because I love this character so much. And, I'm very, happy that I was able to portray her to people's, I don't know, to people's likeliness. A lot of people connect with her, you know, on a really deep level because of her sexuality. And that's just a beautiful thing to see, that, you know, she has made people come out, you know, and be open with their sexuality and be more comfortable about living their true selves. And that's cool that I was able to play a part in that. And yeah, I mean, being a part of, this franchise for the last, you know, several years has also, made me understand the LGBTQIA plus community more and more. Cause I wasn't, you know, I've always, you know, supported, but I wasn't, you know, really knowledgeable about everything that was going on within the community. And the people that I've met, the fans that I've met, they've taught me so much about this community, and I've just fallen in love with it, over and over, day in and day out. I have so many people in my Twitch community who are part of this community, and they're all beautiful, amazing people. And they deserve this representation. And I just hope that, you know, we see more and more of that. And the representation with Steph, you know, especially in True Colors and Wavelengths, you know, like, I like to say that, like, you know, she's not just a gay character. She's a character who is very dynamic. You know, she is, she does D&D. She's a radio DJ. She, you know, likes to explore her different arts with creativeness, and you know, she does so much stuff. And being gay is just a part of who she is. It's not her identity. And I think that that's kind of where we're going in the direction of media. And I think where the LGBTQIA plus community would like us to go is to show that, hey, like, you know, there's more to you than just your sexual identity. There's more to you than that. And you're a person, and you have hopes, and you have dreams, and you have passions. And we're going to show characters that amplify that. And hopefully you feel represented in that aspect. And I think that that's what they did with Steph.
I think you delivered. And I think my kind of notion as well, I think that Deck 9 wasn't really bothered with you not being gay, because I think their diverse writing room as it is, they're kind of like, they tackled that part of Steph, and they were like, we just need the actor to bring her to life. So I think that was very helpful. I think it was just kind of the jigsaw fitted together. So I don't think they were necessarily dwelling on it, but I have seen that kind of, like, you know, question marks about who we should have more gay actors here. But I think, as I said before, when I watched you play it, I was like, you know, how can anyone doubt Katy can play his character? There's no stereotypes. There's no kind of, well, in my mind, there's no stereotypes. There's no this, there's no that. She's well connected with the LGBT community, because it's obviously gravitated towards her because of Steph. So very interesting to hear your perspective. Okay, Katy. So one thing was very interesting earlier on, which you didn't mention, but I'm going to bring it up here. We were talking about Steph's appearance, and one of the things that really stood out for me was her tattoo, the swallow.
Yeah.
It's there. So I wanted to ask you two things now. What was your personal interpretation of her having the swallow? And then two, has Katy Bentz thought about getting the swallow tattoo?
I had to ask, so I didn't know. I was like, what does this tattoo mean? Like, and Corwin had to like chase it and go, you know, ask and all of that. And then they told me what it was, you know, just the flight and just going to different places and having different, you know, experiences and journeys, like the whole sailor story behind it. And so I was like, that's awesome, because that's like what she is struggling with, and what she's been doing is she's just been kind of going to different places and hasn't truly found where she belongs yet. You know, she's just the bird in flight. So that was really cool. So I didn't know the interpretation until I asked about it. And yeah, it was really important to me, because we didn't even know like what kind of bird it was or anything. Like, nobody really knew except for the art director. But yeah, you just saw this thing. I was like, is that a tattoo? What is that? What does she have right there? And they had to go and chase it and ask. So yeah, it's always, I don't know. I think those kind of things too help as an actor, just looking at your character and seeing what the heck's on her. And when I saw that tattoo, I was like, that's important. So I had to figure out what that was. No, I haven't ever thought about getting it. I'm sure people are like, why haven't you gotten a tattoo? But I have no tattoos at all. And I don't know. Maybe one day. I'll never say never, but maybe one day. I'll get it in a different place or something, but no, I don't have any tattoos. I'm kind of like, I don't know, apprehensive about getting tattoos because they're forever. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. Because when I had Erika on here, I said to her, like, have you got the Alex Chen tattoo? And she's like, no. And then at that point, I was going to wager her saying, like, if you don't win a BAFTA, I'll get the tattoo. And if you do win the BAFTA, you have to get it. Thankfully, in my case as well, I was like, I didn't make that wager with her, because I was like, I would have that Alex Chen tattoo. So completely understand that apprehensiveness. And I kind of gave you that story because obviously we fast forward from True Colors. The BAFTAs come up. Katy Bentz is criminally overlooked for a supporting nomination, in my opinion. As I said repeatedly in StrangeCast, I felt like that was a big shock for me. Obviously, Han Soto deserved it, and Erika Mori deserved it. I very much felt that True Colors could have taken 2 categories in Best Supporting, and you could have been in there. But there was some caveats, which was also obviously Katy Bentz gets to go to the BAFTAs with the Deck 9 crew and also the nominees. Katy Bentz looks absolutely gorgeous with Erika Mori at the BAFTAs as well. Aww. They both steal the show for how they look. But I kind of wanted to know, what was it like going to London, going to the BAFTAs, irrespective of, obviously, as I said, the criminal snub of the nomination? What was it like to kind of go there? And as I said, I know Erika said that you were unwavering support you gave her as well, and all the kind of like great messages you sent her and everything, and same to Han as well. But what was it like to kind of go with them? And then, as I said, you're pretty much one of the main characters, but to go with them and see True Colors get nominated at the BAFTAs.
Yeah. Just to touch on it a little bit, like a part of me was definitely, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit like, dang, because I thought, there was a chance. I thought there was a chance. And you know, when it comes to these award shows and everything, like it's, you know, there's so much going on behind the scenes. And there's so many reasons of how and why they pick different things. But yeah, it was definitely like, I don't know, like a part of me was like, it could happen, you know, and I was super stoked about the idea of it happening. But you know, when it didn't, I just had to like dial it back in and be like, no, like, it's okay. Like, you know, the award that I got from, you know, this experience and being a part of this franchise is the amazing people and community that I've met, and like just this life that it's given me. Like that's bigger, you know, than a feasible, like, you know, award from a show. And that's what I just had to dial back into and really be grateful about. And then I was just so stoked that Erika and Han got nominated. I think that's amazing. And like they both deserve it. And I was just so stoked. And I don't know, I was excited about it. And then Erika's the reason I actually got to go to the BAFTAs, because she was I think she was a little upset too about, you know, not not having Steph be nominated. And she was like, you need to go, you have to go. And I was like, okay, well, you know, if it works out, I don't know how I'll go, you know. And she's like, no, it's gonna work out. And she actually like poked around and was like talking to like Deck 9 and seeing, you know, if there was a possibility that I could go. Like the one thing about Erika is that she is just so supportive of her friends, and she wants to see her friends succeed and have like recognition and things. Like it's just, she's a really beautiful person and she's a really great friend. And luckily, yeah, like she put in there that, you know, I was interested in going, and then Deck 9 was like, well, we have, you know, an extra spot. We can like, let's do this. And I was like, are you what the? And this was like 2 weeks later. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, I guess I'm going to London. And this was like, I haven't done anything. Like this was still in the pandemic. I was freaking out. I was like, I can't not go. I have to do this. So yeah, I mean, I freaking put like 2 masks on. I had a face shield on the airplane. Like I was not messing around. I was freaked out. But when I got, you know, to London and everything kind of eased down. And yeah, going to the BAFTAs was just, oh my God, it was so cool. Like it was, I could gab about the BAFTAs so much. I'm going to go back. I will go back. I will be back at the BAFTAs. And I don't know, it was just full with so many amazing people who were just so kind. Like everybody that I met was so kind and willing to talk to you. And I mean, these were like, you know, incredible actors who I feel like a lot of the times we think about actors and they're like, oh, they're just too good to talk to us. Right. And maybe that's the truth about like the film industry and like those like, you know, those A-list actors. I'm not sure. But like being at the BAFTAs around all these really talented voice actors and animation, video game actors, like everybody was so kind and they were willing to talk to you. They wanted to hear what you had to say. Very inviting. It was just amazing. I don't know, like I got to talk to so many people, and I was just really, I was like impressed about how kind everybody was, and it was just an inviting environment. Yeah, I don't know, it was just awesome, and I got to like dress up and like feel like, you know, I don't know, it was just such a cool time. And then I got to explore London a little bit more, which was awesome. Yeah, I don't know, I was just really grateful that it all worked out how it did, and then I got to be there for the show and got to support Han and Erika, and our two other nominations we had animation and writing, I believe. Yes. Yeah, we had a lot of fun, so it was good. That's already passed my brain too, and it's only been I don't even know how long it's been. That was back in April. So it's almost been 5 months. Yeah, like I don't even know how time just like leaves us so like quickly like that, and then I don't know, it's crazy, but yeah. Well, I don't know.
I'm really glad that you got to go, and obviously I think it's also indicative of the industry as well, because like a lot of the supporting nominations didn't seem to be there, and I feel like obviously you and Han could be nominated for a lot more, because like it seemed to just be like a lead actor nomination, and obviously Erika was up for quite a few of them, got beaten by Maggie Robertson, and a lot of them I was like, why is Erika not winning more of these? Why are there not more awards being distributed? So I think in itself, I think the best supporting role did get overlooked, and as I say, you should be nominated, and hopefully you are there in the future. But I'll kind of move things forward a bit more from April, because obviously, and it feels quite nice that we have this news as well, because, you know, we held off quite a while doing this interview, but in that meantime, we had very interesting news dropped by Square and Titan, which was obviously that we have a Life is Strange prose novel coming, Steph's story.
Yes.
The Steph Gingrich continuing again. I kind of wanted to ask you, and just for your 2 cents anyway, because obviously we have a comic series that's ran for quite a while. We had Max, Chloe, and Rachel in that one. But why do you think that they went for a prose novel instead of like a comic series with Steph? And then obviously in itself as well, your initial reaction just to seeing that Steph story will continue. There's going to be a deeper exploration with her relationship with Izzy. But just generally, how does it feel seeing that?
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked. I was honestly shocked about that because I didn't know anything about it. Like, it was just completely like, I saw it the first time everybody else saw it. So I was just like, what? Like, what the heck? I don't know. Like, I was just shocked. And immediately I was like, I want to be involved in this if there's any audiobook. Like, what? So I like messaged Square and I was like, I want to be involved in this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm manifesting. It would be awesome. But yeah, no, I had no idea that that was happening. Like, the thing, I don't know. I think a lot of people don't realize, like, as an actor, especially with something like a video game, you know, you have no control over anything that happens with this character moving forward. Like, this, you don't own the character. You were just a vessel for the character, and that's it. So whatever the studios, you know, continue to do with the character, you don't have to be told anything. Like, it's just like, you just find out, you know? So I don't know. It's cool. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know why it's not a comic. I don't know why it's a whole story. I don't know if they're doing more of these. I have no idea. So I'm literally like in for the ride with you guys. Yeah, I have no idea what they're doing, but I'm really hoping that it turns into an audiobook and that I can narrate it. That would be freaking so cool. I would love that.
It seems a given for me to kind of like have you do the audiobook. There's so much there. And obviously, we mentioned before, you're privy to things that we don't know, but obviously in the sense as well, like development changed on this game. I always have this theory of Adam where I'm always like, I feel like Steph was initially more prominent than we expect. Like, I think you could even take Alex Chen away, nothing against Erika, Mori or anything, and you could put Steph on the front cover, and that was the main character for Life is Strange. That for me, there's kind of like indications of that. Even with like doing the Steph storyline in the actual game, it seems much stronger than the Ryan one. Like all the kind of choices, I was always gravitating towards Steph. It's always like the kiss interest, this and that. Do you feel like Steph was maybe in your mind that she could have had a bigger role? She might even be the main character in the game. As I said, I'm just kind of like my own theory of this, or just kind of explore you. And does it also set in your mind that potentially Steph could be a main character in the future game? Because as we've seen, life is very unpredictable.
Yeah, no, I love it. I promise I'm not lying to you anymore. Like, I have nothing. I'm not hiding anything. But yeah, no, I would honestly, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is and everything for the future of the franchise, but God, yeah, it would be so cool to play her again. I almost feel though like her DLC was her story though. And like, you know, does that mean that that's over for her journey? I don't know, but it would be cool. Deck 9, hi, Square Enix, hi, I will be Steph again forever. But also it's just like, I don't know, I feel like there's people in the franchise who are like, all right, we're sick of this character. You know, like they want to see different stuff. And I get that and I understand that. But yeah, no, I think she could definitely be explored as a main character, you know, in one of the franchise games. I think that would be great. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so as I said, I'm going to cut a couple of things out because maybe in the future we'll explore them because we want you on StrangeCast. Absolutely, that's a must. But we'll explore them in the future because I want to explore two more things before we get to a lightning round. And as I said, this interview is about Steph Gingrich and also Katy Bentz. So obviously the first one I kind of wanted to explore was, you know, as I was watching True Colors come out, the announcement, there was kind of like, you know, Katy Bentz is on press tour. She's on with Mallory Littleton. She might be with Felice. It could be any scenario, but Katy is doing the rounds. She's on the games press. I was following them. I was reading the interviews. I was doing everything because I feel like, and even when we had Kylie on a couple episodes ago for StrangeCast, she said like, you know, she was thrilled for you that you had the opportunity to have the Wavelengths DLC. That was Katy's moment. That's, you know, Steph's moment. But I kind of wanted to explore that because like you are now central. Like, as I said, 5 years ago, I reached out to you for an interview. One of the few people that probably interviewed you for an outlet because, you know, as we said, Steph was a minor character at that point. You're now a main character. But I kind of wanted to know, how did you feel like dealing with that kind of like exposure at that point? Because like whilst you seem to be, you have the entertainer life, you have to Twitch, but I do imagine that you're quite private with things. But at this point, you also have to, you're a star of the game. Everyone's talking about you. You got verified on Twitter, all that kind of stuff. I wanted to ask you, how did it feel kind of being put on those rounds, doing the interviews, and then kind of having that moment finally?
Oh my God, it was amazing. I loved it. I love doing interviews. I love doing podcasts. I love talking about the game. But yeah, it was cool. I think I did 2 full days of just press interviews for pretty big news outlets and stuff. And it was so cool. I don't know. I loved it. I loved it so much. I wish that, we could have done more. I wish it could have been in person. I look forward to my next opportunity when I can do that again. But yeah, it's definitely crazy. I had more people reach out to me this time and than the last time, because obviously, yeah, she's a bigger character. It was just fun to be able to talk about it and to kind of, have the avenue to do that. I don't know. Just, it was cool.
No, I'm glad to hear that. And because that kind of exposed into another question, which was a very interesting tweet I saw from Katy Bentz, but also very accurate. And it was you were tweeting in June about actors' names not being spelt right. And it kind of just made, and especially in credits, I know that, and especially in the industry as well, in the video game industry, some developers leave studios and they are even credited on the games that they've worked on. They might have left early, and it's what's going on here? And I remember as well, because when I was doing the Life After Strange interview that we did 2 years ago, we had the old layout with the name tags, and I put your name in it. And then I kind of came back to it before I exported it from Final Cut Pro. I was like, why should it say Katy Bentz? I was like, I did not type that, because I always usually go to someone's Google name and kind of copy and paste it, because I'm I want it to be spelled right. I don't want something to go out with someone's name spelled wrong. Then I went onto Google. I was I typed in your name and it was wrong. And I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. It shouldn't be like that. I kind of wanted to explore that a bit more with you, because obviously that is a big nuisance for you, because it's obviously branding. It affects just even, I imagine, a bit of your mentality of seeing someone not recognize your name and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to ask you, do you think that's a wider issue in general? Because I read a lot of True Colors reviews. I can't tell you, Katy, how many were naming you. It was usually Steph's voice actor does a great performance in this. And it was it seems to be a big problem with reviews. Do you think it's also just an issue with the video game industry, because it's still a young industry compared to films, compared to TVs? You'll experience that issue as well with credits being spelled. But is it something that needs to be tackled wider, in just in the sense that not only these people need to respect you and make sure names are double checked in credits when they do it in production, but also reviewers should be more receptive, being it's Katy Bentz who did an unbelievable performance as Steph Gingrich, not Steph's voice actor did a great performance, and not recognizing by name.
Yeah, it's that second part about the reviewers and stuff. I mean, I never really even thought about that, I don't know, but that's a good point too. I mean, I think, recognition is really important. And, there's a lot that we don't get as actors. I mean, we don't get residuals. We do, there's a lot, there's a lot we go through in this industry. And recognition is something that we hold on to. It's something that makes us proud of our work, and it kind of just makes everything better. The things that we feel like we deserve more of and we don't get, we're at least we get the recognition. That's awesome. So yeah, when that doesn't happen, but yeah, the two credits, well, one credit was, I don't even remember the other 2 credits anymore. I don't know. I block it out of my mind. But I think 2 of them were on a film, and then one of them was on a video game that I worked on. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it's so easy. And it's not just actors. Anybody's credit shouldn't be spelled wrong. The freaking, I don't know, animation person's name shouldn't be spelled wrong. A QA's name shouldn't be spelled wrong. Nobody's name should be spelled wrong. It does not take that long for somebody to go in there and double, triple check names. It does not take long at all. And yeah, I was in communication, with some of these people with emails and stuff. You saw my name. One of my biggest pet peeves is if somebody emails me or messages me on Twitter or something and they spell my name wrong. I'm my name is literally right there in my email. It is right there in my freaking Twitter. Why are you reading that? So yeah, it's a huge pet peeve of mine. It's not that hard. And whenever I do anything, and I don't know too, if I've made a mistake, I'm so apologetic about it, but because of all this stuff, I'm very, very, very particular, and I make sure that I spell everything. I triple freaking check everything because I know how it feels. And once it goes live, like on a tweet or on YouTube, like that's it. That's it. And usually you're not going to delete it. Maybe you will. I don't know. But yeah, it's really important to make sure that you give people the recognition they deserve and spell their freaking names right.
No, I absolutely agree with you. Like, I have a pet peeve with it. Someone spells my name wrong in an email, like my day job as a journalist, I delete the emails because I'm like, you can't even bother looking at my name.
Yeah, like you can't even bother to, yeah.
Not even reading this. Same with you as well. I can understand as an actor, because if you're spending that much time, the commitment you do, and you just see it, I think psychologically it will just piss you off, because, my words as well, not yours, but like, it will piss you off because it's like, you kind of want someone just to recognize you because you put that much time and effort towards something.
Yeah.
Who wants their name spelled wrong? So completely understand that. We're coming to the end, because obviously it's a long talk, and a very great talk, by the way, as well. I've really enjoyed this. But one more thing, Katy. So in June, Katy hit a milestone in her life by turning 30.
Yeah.
But we have to ask, what are 3 things that Katy wants to achieve in this decade of her life before she closes out her 30s?
Oh my God. I want to be nominated for a BAFTA award. I want to be nominated for a BAFTA award.
Which will happen.
Yeah. I want, oh gosh, another thing that I want to do. I just want to continue being able to, supporting myself through Twitch and acting. I also want to, this goes along with the BAFTA nomination. I want that, but I also want to land a leading role in a large AAA video game.
Which I'm sure will happen as well. So good shouts there.
Yeah.
Katy, we're at the end, and I always end this off with a lightning round. Series of questions. It's never a lightning round. Sometimes it throws people, but we'll start things off very easy with you.
Okay.
Katy Bentz, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's start. BTS Steph or True Colors Steph?
True Colors Steph.
Very good. Who or what would be Katy's spirit animal aside from Steph?
A ladybug. I know it's not an animal.
Why ladybug?
Because they're really special to me, and I don't know, whenever they're around, I just feel positivity and think things are good.
Okay. I can take that. So, if Katy could borrow Alex's empath power and read the emotions of any True Colors actor, who would she pick and why?
A Han?
Okay, I'll give you that. Right. Sorry. Katy turns up to an audition and has to put her quote-unquote special skills of beatboxing to the test. What song is Katy going to pick for her beatboxing cover?
Lose Yourself by Eminem.
Oh, what a shout. And I only picked that because Adam has obviously brought up in that StrangeCast episode, and I feel like it's the perfect time.
Yeah.
Next one. Katy has her very own original song added to the Steph's jukebox. However, what would be the name of Katy's band, and what would she call the song?
What would be the name of my band? Positive Vibes. The song would be called Get It Together, Girl. I don't know. Listen, it's rapid. Positive Vibes, get it together, girl. That's where I'm at right now.
We'll take that. Here comes a very tricky question. Based on what you saw at the BAFTAs, who was the better dancer, Han Solo or Erika Mori?
Oh, I'm sorry, Erika. Han.
Wow.
I think Erika might agree with me. I think Erika.
Are you sure about
Han had some footwork. Han had some footwork going on. He had some good footwork. Erika had some good hand movements going down, but like, I don't know, Han's footwork, there was something going on down there, and it wasn't stopping.
Well, hopefully Erika Mori never sees this, because I think she's going to be furious. But anyway.
I think she would agree with me. I think she would agree. But I think we can all agree. Han, Erika, and I, and everybody else in that little dance circle can agree that there was that one guy. There was that one dev. I don't even know where he was from, what company he worked for, but there was that one guy who just controlled the entire dance floor, and we couldn't stop watching him. And he was going crazy. He was crazy. He wins over everybody.
Okay, fair enough. I will say though that Erika was on one of the podcasts, and I did ask her who was a better dancer out of her and Han. She did say herself, but as we said, maybe
she did. Oh my God, she's gonna hate me. Oh no, I thought she would have said Han. Oh no, Erika, if you're watching this, you know I think you're a good dancer. But I think I don't think she was. Listen, I was on the sidelines and I was watching. I don't think she saw his footwork. I don't think so. Also, I think she always wants to be better than Han as well. So I said the wrong thing. Erika, don't hate me.
No, I think we assessed in our StrangeCast episode of Erika that Han Soto lives rent free in Erika Mori's head. So I think there is that, and Han Soto does have swagger. I'll give him that as well. And we're arranging Life After Strange with him, so don't worry about that. If you could transport one character from Arcadia Bay to Haven Springs, who would you pick and why?
Ooh. Oh my God, who would I pick and why? Do I want to say Chloe? I think I want to say Chloe. I feel like I don't know where Chloe would be. What is it? I don't even know how long, like how old she would be if she was in Haven Springs. I don't know. But she'd be older. She'd be in like her mid-20s or something. I think she might have gotten it together by then. And I think she would appreciate Haven Springs a lot. Though I do think Max would appreciate Haven Springs as well too. I don't know if
endless possibilities. No, Rachel would never get it together.
I don't think she would. I don't think she'd ever appreciate it, to be honest.
No chance. Katie, thank you so much for coming back on here. It was great having you here. As I said, 2 years feels like a lifetime ago, considering all the things that happened, and it's great having you on here. And we'll try and get you on StrangeCast definitely at some point in the near future. Because as I said, there's a lot of topics to talk about, because I'd cut a lot out here. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. You know, if you are new here, please do leave a subscribe, like, comment, share, turn on notifications. It helps the channel. And, stay tuned. We are going to have more Life After Strange episodes coming soon. You can catch Katie on Twitch. You can also go and check her vlogs out as well on True Colours, which I very much recommend you go and check out because they are great to watch. But yeah, until then, we'll see you soon with a new episode. Take care, guys.
Bye.